guys, it's me, and today I'm talking about the Lux series by Jennifer Armentrout. This is the first time I'm going to be attempting a thing like a series discussion, so hopefully it will all work out. Also, before people ask, these are the Dutch editions because Belgium and I speak Dutch, so yeah. That's these editions in case you're wondering, like, whoa, those are colorful. I don't know those. It's because they're Dutch edition. I'm gonna talk about this series. I'm gonna try and keep it spoiler free. I can't promise anything. I don't know where this is gonna go, but I'll for sure give you a warning when it will get spoilery. In case you don't know about the Lux series, where have you been? But I'll talk to you all about them. The Lux series is a YA sci-fi-ish series written by Jennifer Armentrout, and it contains 5 books. There's also some novellas and like spin-off books. I read one, which is Shadows, which is a prequel novella to the series, but there's also some that come in between and some that are told in another character's it's just the book but told in another character's perspective. And I'm going to talk about those today. I'm going to talk about the main 5 books. And then there's also a spin-off series that started, I believe, last year called the Origin series, which takes place after this and starts with The Darkest Star, also written by Jennifer Armentrout, of course. This series is about a girl named Katie who her father has died recently and her mother kind of wants a new start, so they move to West Virginia, and she ends up moving next door. This boy and girl were twins, and she becomes very quickly friends with this girl, but she kind of butts head with this guy and just they don't get along, but like there's some attraction kind of, like they don't get along at all. And turns out those people are aliens. They're Luxans from the planet called Lux. And I was more fine, but I'm going to talk to you about that just to leave some sort of mystery. And yeah, it's about her getting involved with aliens. The first book is, like, the series often get compared to Twilight but with aliens, and I feel like that's pretty true for the first book. For like feeling wise, like plot wise, there's some things that you can be like, okay, yes, but mostly it just, like, the feelings you get from it is very similar to the feelings you get out of Twilight. It just, yeah, it's like that. The rest of the series trays off of that very quickly, very much. So I wouldn't say this whole series is Twilight, but with aliens, but like the first book definitely, like, it has that vibe to it. It reads a lot, like all of the books read very much like paranormal romances instead of sci-fi books, even though technically they are sci-fi. So I think this is a great way to get into sci-fi if you like contemporaries or paranormal romances or urban fantasies, like those kind of things. I think you would also quite enjoy these books. Now, quick heads up, for the first 3 books, quality wise, they're not that great. The plot is very little and very spread out and just filled with kind of these filler moments where we just see the characters interact and develop their relationship with each other. And yeah, if you want a quick action-packed series with a lot of plot in it, this isn't the series for you, sadly enough. But it is a very fun series and I had a great time. And the last 2 books pick up and pace and plot very much, and there was just a lot happening in those 2 books, and I just kind of wish would have carried on into all of the books, because this would have been like a 5-star series for me, which it isn't. I think average rating I'm at like a 3.5, I'm not sure, but I'll go through all of the books and all of the individual ratings in a minute. And yeah, like I said before, I really enjoyed this series. It's not the best quality, but it just, enjoyment level wise, they are very great. I've read more by Jennifer Armentrout and just think she has this quality of writing very addictive books that you just don't want to put down or want to keep reading and just like inhale read, because you just don't want to put them down. It's not necessarily because they're that good, but just because you're just so sucked into them and you just care a lot about the characters and have a lot of fun with them. And yeah, I think this, also a thing I've noticed with Jennifer Armentrout is she likes taking like very popular tropes and puts them in her books, and it kind of gives like a little spin on them, and it's very fun. And often it takes to like you finish the book, like because often when you're introduced to like a character or like a certain plot point, you're like, oh my god, this is so tropey, but once you actually know with the book and know with the series, you're like, actually was very originally done with that trope. And that's what I really like with the series as well, because I love tropes, but I just don't like that they're done the exact same way every single time, and I feel like this book kind of mixes things up a little bit, and it's just very fun. I really like the characters in it. It has a big focus on family, not necessarily blood family, but also more friends, chosen family kind of. And yeah, also a lot of great discussion about morality, especially in the later books. There's a lot of discussion around what's good and what's bad, and I really enjoyed it. I'm just quickly gonna give you a ranking of these books from my favorite, from my least favorite to favorite, and then I'm gonna give you individual reviews of the books. So my favorite book in the series, or my least favorite book in the series, is Opal, and that's the third book. I didn't like this. We'll find out why soon. Then we have Opposition, which is the final book in the series. Then Origin, which is the fourth book in the series. Then Onyx, which is the second book in the series. And Obsidian, which is the first book in the series. And I don't know, holding this up, I can talk to you about this. I give Obsidian 4 out of 5 stars. This was a great introduction to this world and these characters. I read this like 2 years ago, I think. I read this a year ago, I think. At least a year ago. So I don't remember too much from this because also my Goodreads review wasn't that detailed, so like I don't know. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I love these characters, and this book had the most of that being pulled in factor that I had. I call it like the Jennifer Armentrout magic. I don't know if that's or addictiveness, because yeah, I was completely addicted to this book. I think I read this in like one day. I could be wrong, but I read this pretty quickly because I flew through this. I just had so much fun with this book. And I also think kind of plot-wise it's still interesting and very small scale. And like I said, it reminded me a lot of Twilight, like feelings-wise. And it's pretty small scale compared to the other books. The other books like expand more on the world and stuff. And this feels very much like a contemporary with like that little bit extra in it. So if you like that, this is definitely a great book to read, and then you can still decide if you want to continue on or not. Then we get to the second book in the series, which is Onyx, which I also give 4 out of 5 stars. I don't know. It's also been a while since I read this. Oh, in this book, the world expanded a bit more. We learn more about these aliens and what they do. There's also something that happens at the end of book 1 that make for a new interesting aspect to come into the story in this book. Can you tell? I'm trying to do this without any spoilers. But yeah, that just made for like a new interesting twist into this, and we got to learn about that. There was some training in this book. Take with that what you want. So if you like training books, this is the one. I feel like in all the books after this, there was some sort of training in it. But this one really has kind of like the training and being able to control powers, like training on that and stuff. I just really learn a lot in this book. Learn a lot about the world in this book, but also still developing characters' relationship and having a lot of banter. This is still pretty small scale, even though it expands on the world a little bit. It still just takes place in a town, and yeah, it's pretty small scale and it's still very fun. And then with book 3, the series kind of takes a twist. This is Opal. After we kind of get more involved with the government in this book, and I'll be doing after this. I don't know what to say. But in case, this is not really spoilery, but in the first book we introduced the kind of like this section of the government that knows about aliens and is set on like the aliens and having them like be able to integrate with like people and make sure that humans don't find out that aliens are on Earth and like stuff like that. And then this is the book where we really start to get into like the government things. Like we get a little hint at the end of Onyx about what the government is actually doing, because of course it's a YA series, government is never good. And this book we get more into that. This book I gave 2 out of 5 stars. Yeah, this was a huge drop to go from 4 stars to 2 star, but this still had that problem of there was not a lot of blood in it, which I kind of ignored a little bit in the first 2 books because it had that addictiveness and that magic throughout it. Well, this didn't have that for me. It just felt very, very boring most of the time, and the plot just felt dragged out so much to me, and I just didn't like this. I read this pretty recently, so that's why I still remember. Actually, I think I read this in September, so go check out my September wrap up if you want to know more about this. I think I read this in September, yes, I read this in September, so if you want to know more of like my fresh thoughts about this because I got my September wrap up. It was just very dragged out and slow and boring, and I would just like get to the point, and there were some time jumps in here that were just very unclear, and not a fan. And then I was a little bit scared to continue on to the series, but I did because I was sick. And I was just like, I gotta get through this. So I had Origin, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars, so we kind of went a little bit more upwards. But my problem is from this book onwards, the plot picks up a lot. Like they're very fast-paced, action-packed. There's a lot happening in them, and it's a lot of fun. And I really like the direction the story went in this book, and in the last one as well. So I'm not complaining about that at all. If you might be like quality-wise looking, I think the last 2 books might be the best of the series because there's just so much going on in them, and you'll learn so much, and everything just moves so fast. But it didn't have that spark that the first 2 books had. It didn't. I was wanting to keep reading because the plot was just so quick and fast. I would just fly through it, and it was so interesting. But I wasn't really like completely addicted to it like it was the first 2 books. But I just felt like I just needed to keep reading to just, I don't know, have fun. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Again, there's a lot into the government, and this definitely plays more with what's good and what's bad. And I don't know, I really liked this book. Might not have been my favorite series, but I still really liked where this went. And yeah, no complaints. Oh, I also learned a lot of interesting things, especially about origins, what Origin is. I think that tale is very interesting, and because the spin-off series is called the Origin series, I'm very excited to read that because I'm curious. And then finally we have Opposition. Also Sabrina Carpenter, the last book, I gave 2 out of 5 stars again. This kind of had the same problems with me as Origin did, that the plot was very great and very fast moving and very fun, but very interesting, but I just didn't have that like extra bit, you know. Also, these 2 books are told in dual POV, so the first 3 books are just told in the perspective of Katie. These are both told in the perspective of Katie and Damon. Damon is a love interest, in case you wanted to know. And it makes, I know why Jennifer Armentrout makes the decision, because otherwise the story just wouldn't be complete and I'd be missing out on so many things. But I didn't like it. I feel like it had the Allegiant problem, where it just was hard to distinguish which character was talking, even though it was very clearly indicated. I was confused a lot of times about which characters had who when. But I really liked this. I think this was a great conclusion to this series. Also, because it's not open-ended, it's very concluded, but I also feel like it leaves off in a place where a spin-off series makes sense. And I'm really, like I said, I'm really excited to continue on with that spin-off series. And yeah, the only problem I had with this is that the like battle part, kind of, it's a YA series. Everything ends in the final battle, you know? And kind of like the final battle part that we've been building up to, mostly in this book and this book, just felt very, very anticlimactic. It just happened very quickly, and I don't know. We also had like a pretty great battle in this book, and I feel like that was more high stakes and more fun. And then this one, whilst this is the last book and it's a series finale, like this should have the most epic battle and most high stakes one, but it didn't. And everything just happened so quickly. Like the people that were supposed to die died in like a snap, and not literally. It's not Infinity War, but I don't know why I made an Infinity War joke. It could have been Endgame, and that would have been more relevant. I don't know. It felt pretty anticlimactic, but for the rest, I think this was. I didn't leave the series being like, oh, did I read all those books before that for nothing? It's not like that. Pretty happy and late. I don't know. I was happy with this. I don't know. I hope I convinced you. I don't know what to say, because this is such an old series and I feel like everyone who has somewhat of an interest in it has read it already. But I still wanted to do this video because it's been a while since I finished a long series, and I just thought it would be nice to talk about it in a video, because I also need a video. Whenever I have time, I should have filmed the video. I really enjoyed the series. I can't wait to start the spin-off series, which starts with The Darkest Star. This is the Origin series, also by Jennifer Armentrout, of course. So currently on Goodreads, it is listed as a duology, so all the books are supposed to be out. So let me know if you want a series review on this series as well, or if you just want more series review in the future in general. And yeah, feel free to discuss these books with me in the comment section below, even in spoilery detail, because I read them all, baby. Be sure to leave like a spoiler warning at the top of your comments, so people who are going to the comments who haven't read the series yet, because it is a spoiler-free review, know not to read the comments. That's basically the only rule I have. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. Good.
Here I am again, the same old situation. Why does the God thing have to be so complicated?